ChadArmesTV. We are back, and this is definitely one of the interviews that I was hoping at some point we would be able to do. These are two very talented gentlemen and really good dudes, man. We've got New Breed and Jesse Howard from Outlaw Nation.
What's up?
Appreciate y'all, man. This is really dope. I appreciate y'all wanting to sit down. I know we spoke about it a while back in July. I spoke to New Breed. I spoke to you, New Breed, about it. I spoke to Jesse about
You
it.
have, yeah.
I know Justin he mentioned it at one of the raves, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But I appreciate.
I remember you walking up to me and asking me about it.
Yeah, for sure, dude. Hell yeah. So I'm glad that the people are going to be able to see this because I know it's something that they've been excited about. So we can just get started like this, man. So do y'all want to just kind of speak on what, like, growing up, like where y'all are from respectively and kind of what growing up was like?
Yeah.
You want to start with me or you want to start?
You can start. Mine's gonna be probably a little bit longer, but me and Jesse, I'll tell y'all this ahead of time. We are like polar opposites.
Yeah.
So he mentions it often. I don't, mention that too much, but I know
it's pretty wild, to be honest, how God can bring two people together from 14 and a half hours away, but he did, and I'm thankful for it. But my childhood I had a really good childhood. I was very loved as a baby. I mean, my mom and dad, they sheltered me for a while. They didn't want me to see the world, and what it could be, because the world's evil, and there's a lot of it around. So they kind of kept me really sheltered, and I went to church, and I was a good kid all the way going up to high school, and then the rebel side came out. When high school came about, I mean, I started doing stuff that that they told you not to do your whole life. So that's kind of what happened, really. I mean, I got in trouble. I was riding four-wheelers on a golf course and having fun and not thinking about it at 3 o'clock in the morning and got in trouble. But it's a part of my life that I would never change because it gave me a story. It gave me a storyline of timeline of events that kind of change your life in the direction it's going. Because you get in trouble. Things you have to do things you don't want to do, and that changes your life. But I'm very, very happy that I was brought up the way I was brought up. I mean, I graduated from Willard High School. I live, back in my hometown area now, which is amazing. It's awesome to cruise around the old streets and the streets that I grew up on, riding a bike on and driving a new truck through it. And, I bought a truck just because they put it in the parade for the Willard parade.
So. Probably the same streets that people used to doubt you.
Oh yeah. Same streets that people would be like, holy crap, like you're not ever gonna do it. They'd see me trying.
Not from Willard, Ohio.
Not from Willard. He ain't ever gonna make it from Willard, Ohio. And it's just a little small town on the map. But in reality, I mean, it's all if you believe in yourself or not. And I believed in myself, and I wanted to make it happen. And I kept pushing and pushing and pushing. Even before I met him, I was pushing so hard and like trying to meet the right people, and I opening up, shaking hands with the stars. I opened up for Tracy Lawrence, opened up for Joe Nichols, I opened up for David Allen Coe, which was like the best one of them all because I sat on the couch with David Allen Coe. It's like the coolest thing ever to be able to. And there's pictures of that, documented to prove it. And I think that was the mission at first, because I thought back then when I first started, right around 20, after I got in trouble, I remember going to Iowa after I got out of jail. I moved to Iowa, and I said, I'm going to start working. I'm going to start making something of myself like that, And I knew I was a drummer all growing up, so percussion's always been like my big thing.
Okay.
So drumming is what kind of got me started into music when I was 6. My dad, the drummer didn't show up for a band for practice that day, and they were all out in the garage, and I'm sitting on the step, and I'm like 6 years old, and I remember Dad being like, because he had heard me kind of tap around on him and play, and all the people in the band said, "Oh no, we can't let him get on that guy's drums and play. We're not gonna do that. He's 6 years old. He'll tear him up." I got up there and I was like, boop, 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 just in the pocket, man. Just in the I was in the pocket at 6, right off the rip. So it was like, and they all looked around like, "Well, he can play. Let's start playing. Let's start." And that's kind of how it went. And then the singing part didn't really come about. And my dad was the lead singer in the band, so growing up, that's all I ever seen was him play the front man guitar and sing in the middle. And I always thought I don't know how I'm going to be able to live up to that because I'm a drummer, you know. But that's where the confidence stuff came in. You know, I always had good confidence, but not enough confidence to really push me to the next point in my life where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes it just takes like somebody believing in you that you don't know, that's random from 15 hours away,
Right.
that will go, hey, you know, I think you should be here. And, you know, you're a little behind, but I think you should be here.
Right.
And having that push was enough to put into work. Let's say, like, you know, driving back and forth from Alabama to Tennessee, I did it a bunch of times after he come pick me up the first time. We'll get to that story.
Yeah.
But as far as me and my life though, I was very loved, and I'm thankful that I have a family that loves me, and I'm thankful for my family that you know, my wife and my son, and everything that's kind of happened in my life at such a fast rate. And I just I think that one of the things that really keeps me going, to be honest, in this whole music industry is I know what we're doing is going to make a difference whenever I'm dead and gone. It's going to stick around and it's going to stay forever. And that's the point. When you make music, you want it to stick around forever. You want ballads. You want timeless music that don't ever get it doesn't ever get old to hear it, I guess, you know. You know, putting on any song from a soundtrack, you know, that you've listened to in a movie or whatever, and you're going to listen to the whole thing. It's the same kind of process to me. But life really changed when I met him, so I'm just going to throw it over to him
My
now.
story is insane. So I'm gonna eventually I'll be making a documentary about my life, and it's gonna cover all this stuff in great detail. I do not to toot my own horn, even if I did, it would be in a bad way. Uh, Talking about something that's not positive, negative. A lot of my life has been extremely crazy. Is the best way I could put it, I guess. Um, since I was a young kid, it's just I think my life story is just ridiculous, and to be able to put my story out there in a documentary to me is just so huge because I want to show people that what you can overcome, what you can truly come from. Um, because when they hear my story, like I say, not to my own horn, like my life, I'm not trying to say it's harder than anybody else's, but a lot of
That
times.
modest side coming out.
So it all started out. I was born in Lakeland, Florida, Polk County. It's right in the center of the state of Florida. People say it's not country, Florida, all this beaches. It's not nothing like that. When I came up in the swamp. Um, it was so cool back then because what you see nowadays, what people think is country and old school country and everything, is really exactly what I grew up in. So the road that I actually lived on, Creekwood Run, there was a circle at the end, but my grandfather wanted to live on some land out in the woods, so we actually had a tractor and plowed down a road, made a couple curves, go off into the woods, and we built our own land. We had bulldozers and backhoes, knocked down all the trees, palmettos. There's wild animals everywhere, deers, hogs, all that stuff back then. We made our own properties, put in our own septic tanks, had to dig those out, lime rock, everything to make septic tank, put up our own power poles. Then the electric company come out and run the wire and all that. But that's what we did from nothing. Just build our foundation. My grandfather had several properties. That, as that road got longer and longer throughout the years, he bought up more properties, and you know, he'd rent out places and stuff like that. But that's where I come from, is in the swamp. I grew up in the swamp. My favorite thing to do would be, there's a creek out back that flowed called the Gator Creek. When we lived out in the area called Green Swamp, my favorite thing to do would be to go out back and go out in the woods, deep in the woods, go in the swamp, play every day, hide every day, play war with your friends, all that stuff. But as far as home life, it was always my mom. She was gone till I was 6, so I stayed with my grandfather and my grandmother, and then my grandfather and grandmother eventually split up. My grandfather was like a really evil man. He did a lot of bad things to the people in the family, and then even me somewhat. And my mom, she was in Louisiana with my brother's dad until I was 6, and then she came back. I remember writing notes on a piece of paper. My grandma didn't know where my mom was, but she would just pretend that she did and tell me to write her a birthday card, and I would glue candles to the piece of paper and give it to my grandma to send to my mom for her birthday and stuff like that. And no one really knew where she was, but she was living with my brother's dad in Louisiana in a tent, and I didn't know I had a brother at the time. Uh, she had him there. I mean, she had him in Florida, but she was pregnant with him there, and he was real abusive and stuff like that. So, and did a lot of drugs and things. So my brother came out, his lung collapsed, and he died. And they flew him in a helicopter to an all children's hospital and was able to revive him. And now he's like handicapped from it, can't talk or nothing like that. Anyways, me and my brother both, and sometimes I feel more bad for him, the beatings and things we went through, because my mom, she always had a real low self-esteem and dated guys that were alcoholics, drug addicts, thieves. I've been with them, different men she's dated throughout the years, to go do robberies and stuff as a kid, steal a bunch of stuff from the store, and if I say their name out loud, like violent, bad people. And my mom, it's like she didn't really, I don't think she tried to do all that stuff on purpose. I think she was doing what a lot of people do. She was looking for love, and she had like a low self-esteem. She was kind of slow too. It's weird because my dad, he never graduated. My dad was gone when I was 2 years old. So that's why I say my mom, she was gone. My brother's dad, my dad was gone. I lived with my grandparents for a couple of years or whatever. But my dad, he never graduated. Worked at an asphalt plant most of his life. I didn't see him till I was 16 years old. And for me to come from them both, I always had like pretty good smarts and things about me. You would just not know that they'd be my parents. But went through a lot of abuse, and I don't know what it was, but around 6, I found a little tape recorder in this abandoned trailer, and I got some batteries and put it in there. I didn't even know what it did. So my uncle had gave me some tapes. My uncle lived across the street, and he gave me these tapes like Def Leppard, Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses, all that. And
80s bands.
Yeah, I would listen to them, but just they were all recorded on tapes. It wasn't from the store. Like, it didn't say the name. It was wrote on the tapes, like what they were. It didn't say the name. It wasn't a real tape.
That's where they just listened to it on radio and caught it at the right time and
it was
hit
a dub
record.
tape.
Yeah.
So one day I accidentally pushed play and record at the same time, and it didn't play. And I had pushed. They both stuck down, and it didn't play. I'm like, what the heck?
I remember
and
that.
I'm sitting out in the woods by a big old pine tree, just sitting down on the ground, and I just wanted to get away from the house and all the abuse and stuff and go listen to music, and it didn't play. So I was like, I don't know what happened. So I hit stop and rewind, press play, and then I heard myself, like, heard the leaves moving around, and then me saying, what the heck? I'm like, wait, did I just do that? I just recorded myself. So then I started singing. Right. I figured out I could do that on those tapes. So I hit play record, and just me in the woods, 6 years old, start singing all my favorite songs and record myself.
That's so cool, man.
That's how the music came to me, when I figured out I could record myself. And that's why to this day I still record myself. Like, I don't go to no studios, nowhere. I do it all myself. It all leads back to being underneath that pine tree that day, recorded myself. And
just trying to escape.
Yeah, so even when I was a teenager, I know I'm talking about, I know a lot of guys are like, I did this music first or that music first or whatever, but I started putting out albums in 1998. I was not really nobody. I went through a lot of stuff in my life, though. Anxiety, used to take medicine for that. Just my life been a war from the beginning. So a lot of people didn't get to hear who I was or know who I was, because there's always like bumps in the road, like real major issues in the road along the way. So even though I was putting out music since way back then and building my fan base up slowly but surely, not that many people got to hear me. So when people say, well, I did this first, I did that first, or so-and-so, well, I put out Raised in the Swamp album. It was like either 98 or 2000, somewhere in there. And I did a Hank Williams remake, Family Tradition. I put that out, I think, 2008. So the country type rap stuff, I've been doing that a long time myself. But I don't, try to brag or boast about all that. But music in general, man, I've been doing literally my whole life since I was 6 years old underneath the pine tree out there in the woods. And even though there was a lot of bumps in the road and a lot of things I had to face along the way, music is one thing that was always constant. Someone told me one time in a message or in a comment that was what you call a God wink. I didn't know what that meant, but it's like when you're sitting there and you're you're going through like all this misery and stuff, and you get like God to give you a gift, and it's just up to you if you use it or not. You might not even know it. That's like a God wink. So that day when I was able to record myself out there underneath that pine tree, because no one else in my family did music, not one single person. So how did it come to me? I don't know, but it was like something God knew that I needed to make it through what I was going through.
I'm damn sure glad he did though.
For sure.
Yeah,
I'm glad he did, man, because he did the same thing with me. He kind of instilled me with the same thing, kind of, but a completely different way. That's what's wild about it. That's what's wild about our group and what I think that's the most amazing thing, because we are two completely different people, completely come from completely different backgrounds. I mean, I had my share of trouble in my life, but I was loved. You go look at my family. I mean, you look at every picture, you look at everything. I mean, I was just very, very loved. Like, and still to this day, I'm the same way. But
that's one thing that I didn't have a lot of growing
I feel
up.
bad for him that he didn't get to embrace that.
Nah, but
As a kid, and come up and but in a way, I'm
it
glad
built
I'm
me.
glad it didn't, because
It built me to who I am.
built you
So
who you are.
it made me
You're strong, man.
appreciate being a father more, because I didn't have one and went through so much abuse from different men that my mom dated throughout the years. And I'm talking about, some people say that and they might mean they got slapped a couple times or whatever, but I was held down and choked, or most of the time I was always lifted off the floor up against the wall and choked. And or I used to have long hair when I was younger, so I used to like the rock music, like I said, like some 80s rock bands we just talking about. I had grew my hair out long, and I would get like drug around the yard because I didn't rake the yard like he wanted me to one time. So he said, "This is how you rake the yard." A little more vulgar than that, but pushed me down and then drug me across the yard. "This is how you rake the yard." And then my brother being handicapped, he used to just walk up and this. My brother would sit on the porch and play with his little toy cars.
Yeah, I know. I know his brother's is awesome. Actually, his brother's awesome. It's all right, buddy.
I know. I just didn't expect to. I say my little brother, he'd be outside on the front porch, and I always felt so bad for him, man, because he's handicapped. He don't have no friends. I have no one to talk to. Only person that he could have in this world is me. And then I always been fighting my own battles and going through so much bad stuff myself. So it's like I don't feel like I got to spend as much time with him as I wish I could have, or did enough things with him. But this is my mom's ex-husband, actually. There's been several guys she's dated throughout the years, and even after this guy I'm talking about now. But he would just walk up and just slap my brother in the head, because he would make these sounds and he rocks back and forth and he just played with his cars. And if he was being too loud or something and getting on his nerves, he'd be like, "Hey, quit making them noises." And then my brother don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, he don't know no different. His brother's awesome. I keep saying that, but it's for real. Like you got to have a special place in your heart for somebody that's handicapped. Anyway, I've seen them too, together. And is special moments for sure. I mean, he's to the point now where he gave his mom a vehicle, even though he had it so hard. He's still that good person that's going to go, "Look, I know you're struggling here. I'm going to help you."
Well, I grew up now, and I realized that some of the things my mom, did to me when I was young is, I'm not gonna not give her no blame or nothing like that, but it's from the ways of the world and just things you face in life. I've even went through some of the things that she went through probably, and it's I understand a little better now. Like, some people would just do the best they can or the best they know, and she probably did at the time the best she knew and thought she was doing right, and things like that. But like I was saying, he would come up and just slap my brother in the head, and then one time I kind of felt like I wanted to do something so bad, but I was too young at the time. But he slapped my brother in the head, and then grabbed him by his hair, and then we got these steps going up to the trailer that we lived in, and it's like probably 5 foot high off the ground. And I remember he grabbed him by his hair and pulled him upside down the steps, just like doom, 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 and I couldn't do nothing about it. But later in life, I did.
Yeah. Took a little bit of time, but you still got, you still got that back.
I just had to grow and get bigger. And I'm telling you, man, it's like God knew what I needed to get bigger. Because all of a sudden I just started blowing up, and I just became this big dude.
You said it wasn't from working out. You said it's just from
It just came about. And I remember one day I just finally had enough and snapped and hurt him pretty bad. Almost killed him. Really. When I was I think I was 15 when it happened. I got charged with attempted murder, and of course they usually always start you out with something high that they charge you with, and later on they drop the charges down. So that's what happened. I was originally arrested for attempted murder, and I was really going to kill him that day. That's all I wanted to do.
Well, why? I mean, who wouldn't?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Once I figured out that I had the upper hand, because when you're a kid, you kind of want to do something, but you're kind of nervous.
Yeah,
like
you don't think.
You're terrified, man.
One day we just had a family event, and we're all outside playing volleyball and stuff. It was one of the few times ever in my life where the family got together. And I remember when the ball would go, playing volleyball, the ball would go down to the ground, I would reach down to get it. And he would always just do stupid stuff to try to hurt me, like hit me in the back of the head and make it look like everyone else. He's joking around, but come up and knee me in the head when I go down to pick the ball up, and just call me names and stuff like that. And I remember, like, one day after he slapped me in the head when I went down to pick the ball up, I just like snapped and he grabbed him, and we like tussled around in circles for a minute until when we hit the ground, he landed on top of me. And that's always a bad situation to be in, because then you got a lot of work to do to get up from on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So he landed on top of me, and he just started choking me with both hands right there, just right in front of everybody. And I was wondering if anybody's gonna help me. Like, he just kept choking me and choking me and choking me. Everything started going black. And I remember my Uncle Ricky, man, it was always so close. He was a stocky, muscle dude, and he was my idol my whole life. And he died when I was 18 in a car wreck. But and that's a whole another story too. And I saw all that go down. But anyway, I remember he ran up and just hit him. My uncle used to play football, minor league for the Bandits. Anyway, he just hit him so hard, he just flew and rolled like 20 feet. And he said, "Hey, you want to put your hands on the kid? Why don't you put your hands on me?" He said, "Well, he wants to fight me like a man. He started it." But I really didn't. It just looked like I did, because he kept doing stuff where no one really could tell what he was doing, And that made me scared to fight him, because the way he landed on top of me that day and choked me like that. I just kept thinking, like, if my uncle would have been there, how bad it could have been. So I was scared. But it was only like a couple months later, like, I'd overlooked that fear, and he had choked me up against the wall that day and just did a lot of stuff to me. And finally, I snapped, and we just got into a fight, and I had hit him in the head with a vacuum cleaner, and I was on top of him. And at this one point, I was on top of him on the ground holding his arms down, and I know he had got his hands free, and he at least with one of his hands, he reached up and he grabbed my ear and started just twisting and turning and everything, and the blood started coming out of my ear. And then right at that time, my aunt had walked in the door, because my mom ran over there to tell her that this was going on. And my aunt walked in the door, and when she did, he tried to hurry up and get up, and he was almost up, but luckily he turned his back to me for 1 second. I was able to get my arm around his head, and I got him in a sleeper hold, and I just pulled back and just started choking him. And I was behind him on my knees, and he was on his knees in front of me, and I just kept choking him. And then my aunt, she started doing the same thing to me to try to make me let him go. And I told her, I was like, he's going to die today. And then she kept saying, "No, let him go. You're going to ruin your life. Let him go." And I was like, "I'm not letting him go." And it got so bad, this foam and stuff started coming out of his mouth and everything. And I wanted him to die. I kept telling her, I want him to die. But eventually, I let him go, and he fell down. Cops came, and of course, I get arrested. That's what I say. I got arrested for attempted murder then. And nothing happened to him. And anyway, that's pretty much the gist of what my childhood was like. Just imagine that more times, maybe not so severe as that one time, but it was like that the whole time. And me trying to do music in between all that, even like I say, from 6 and up, I was doing music.
When they charged you with attempted, like what did it end up going? What ended up happening from there? Did it just go down to?
So honestly, I don't remember. Because
I'm sure
juvenile paperwork is like I can't even see it these days. I don't even know what my charges were now. I went to the juvenile detention center, and I was in there for a while. And when I went to court, that's when I even knew what I was being charged with.
Yeah.
And they said that if I was to go with my dad, which I never met my dad, but once before that, and they said if I was to go with him, because I guess he had talked to them. Someone had reached out and got a hold of him, and they said he was ready to come get me. They said if I go with him, they would drop my charges down so I could get out of that place and everything. But I told them not. I'd rather stay there. I don't know who my dad is. But they're like, well, this is your only way out. You just stay here till you're 21 or whatever, or you go stay with your dad. So well, I don't know him. I don't want to go with him. I'm comfortable here. This is better than home. So they kind of told me I had no choice. My dad's coming, so you're going. And I remember the day I was in court, so the judge could let me go. I remember looking around the courtroom wondering who my dad was.
It's rough, bro.
I knew I was going home with somebody. I'm looking like
wanting to stay there, and why wouldn't you want to stay there? Because you knew there, for the most part, you didn't have. I mean, I'm sure there was fights here and there in juvenile, but like it was nothing like what she was dealing with at home.
Yeah, and I went to multiple places, man. Crazy houses, runaway shelters. When I never even ran away, just my mom started coming up with anything she could to get me in these homes and get me to these places, because her husbands or boyfriends would always say, like I was extra money, extra mouth to feed. They didn't want to raise me. I remember one time, her ex-husband, the first one. Anyway, he was complaining about how much I ate when I was younger. So he went in the kitchen and got all the frozen meat out of the freezer and threw it through the windows, bust all the windows, and told her, might as well just go out the window, and started throwing all the food out, busting all the windows out, just because I ate, So I don't get mad at my kids for eating. But yeah, I went to multiple places. I always wanted to stay at every one of them. I remember I went to Charter. I don't know if you remember Charter. Back in the day, it was a big thing for my mom would make up anything she could to get me in these places. But when I would go there, I would like it so much. They had a basketball court there. Of course, it was carpet instead of hardwood because they don't want someone like banging someone's head on the floor and like that. Like it was like a lot of weird. You can't have shoestrings. But that was like the best place I ever been to at that time in my life. Like I didn't want to go nowhere, and I cried and cried and begged them to let me stay, and they made me go home. And on the way home, they stopped at the Lakeland Regional Hospital because they have a floor there for like people that have issues and things like that. They tried to, on the way home from that place, try to drop me off at this place, and then they told me I had to sign the paper for them to accept me or whatever, and I wouldn't do it. And they were so mad.
You're feeling like everybody's just trying to get rid of you.
Push you in different directions, yeah.
Do you think when your mom was doing all that, do you think any part of it was her maybe trying to get you, her way of maybe trying to get you out of those situations?
No, my mom beat me too.
Okay, well,
not as much as them,
right.
But for example, here's one night I'll never forget because that hurt me more than any of those guys ever did. And I don't know why, it just stung so bad. And I think it's because, maybe it's because of my mom that did it so hardcore. But I remember her husband was in the back room, and I have found, they call it crank back then. Or she had found it in his wallet or whatever. And I had walked in the room, and he was doing it on the bed. And he got so mad because I didn't know he was home. He got mad because I walked in on that. So he just exploded and was going crazy. And you know, this motherfucker thinks he runs the house. He thinks he's this. He thinks he's that. Whatever. So he said that he was gonna get his gun and come out there and shoot me. And my mom, I hear her in there pleading with him. No, George, don't do it. Don't do it. Come on. You think about, you know, you're gonna go to jail. Yeah, yeah. And I hear my mom in there saying all this stuff, trying to talk him out of it. So I would go back there again. And I just pushed the door open. And I was like, if you're gonna shoot me, just shoot me. Like, why stop him? I was like, come on, what's up? And this is after we already got that one fight, and I went to juvenile and went to these places, and I came back because I had to go live with my dad for a little while. That turned out crazy too. But anyways, when I come back to my mom's and I had to live there again with him again, more stuff happened and everything like that. But this night, you know, he got so mad because I walked in there and all that. He started going crazy. So anyway, like I said, I had walked back there and was like, come on, shoot me then. Because at that time, I was thinking, what could be better? You know what I mean? I can't get away from this stuff. So what could be better? Just do it. Come on. Maybe I can go to one of them crazy homes or somewhere again out of this. Or maybe he will shoot me and I'll be out of it that way too. So I remember he was trying to get up and he was saying, I'm getting my gun. And my mom, she was figured out, didn't know what to do. And she didn't want to lose him. So she just come in there and grab me in the hallway and like pushed me all the way back to the living room. And I thought, you know, I didn't know how it was going to turn out, but she just pushed me down. I fell on the couch. And when I did, I remember she sat on top of me, and just the way it so happened that her knees or whatever was on top of my arms that were laying beside me, and I couldn't defend myself. And I didn't even know this was going to happen. It was like so quick that it happened, and she's got on top of me. And dude, she just started slapping me in the face so many times. Like, I never felt sting so bad. It was just such the worst pain. It just hurt so bad. And then after that, I couldn't believe she did it. And I mean, she's slapped me before and stuff like that, but never like that to where it
Especially
just
when it was a you or him.
Yeah, and just the way it stung was different. And I just laid there after that. Like, I just could not believe that it hurt that bad. My face was hurting that bad, and it stung so bad. So when she got up, usually I would be in a rage and just ready to bust the house down. But this time I was laid there. I was laid there, you know, in the pain and just
broke your heart, dog.
Yeah, that too. Like not just physical pain, but mental pain. So I'm just like, I give up. Like, I can't. I'm not getting. I'll just let them talk and shit. Whatever. I'll just sit out here. I'll just lay here. That's what I did. But yeah, that's basically the gist of my childhood.
That's crazy, man. And so at what time frame would you say, because I know you started doing music like late teens, like what you were saying, and you started early.
Yeah.
Like, when did it become something that y'all was like, okay, y'all hadn't met yet, I know, but like as far as doing it for real, like, I want to do this type thing?
For me, it was, I knew that I was going to, you know, because I played basketball too in school and stuff. So, and when I quit playing ball, I knew that I was going to play music. I knew it back then, like, because I loved playing the drums. I loved it.
Your dad showed me a recording of you when you was 3, 4.
Yeah, like 3 and 4.
He said you was gonna drive race cars and do music.
He was real bad on alcohol before I was born. My brother and my sister would tell me stories about it. I'm the youngest baby in the family, so like I said, I was an accident, so I was loved. You know, it's one of those. It's a completely different kind of story. Like I said, here I think about his story, and I go, man, it's so rough. Like, that's so rough. And then I think about mine, and I thought, what was rough is not rough anymore. Like, that's how I feel. That's because I love them. Like, I care about them. So it's not rough anymore. So it's like, it's one of them things where growing up, I knew I was going to be, I guess I didn't know I was going to be a singer, but I knew I was going to do something with music. And I knew it at 3 or 4 or 5, whatever that recording is. But my dad would ask me, you know, what are you going to do when you get older? And I said, I'm going to drive my red car and I'm going to sing. And I remember saying that. My grandma told me I was going to do something special when I was just a baby. Like when I was 5, 6 years old, they used to put me in there in the kitchen table, and they would just tell me, they were like, you're something different. You're special. You are not normal, is what they used to say. And I used to think, why would you say that? I want to be normal.
Yes, I heard people always said there's something about you. Something different about
Something
you.
different.
We always heard that.
And I never could understand that. You know, I just always thought I'm just a normal guy and never really cared about the fame part of it or none of that. I just wanted to, you know, it started from really just playing drums and having fun and trying to get the girls, you know, when I was a kid. You know, that was one of them kind of things where everybody goes through that, you know, if you're a guy. And I mean, I just feel like I'm glad that it did happen that way. I'm glad that I always sit here and think about life, how it's changed so much in the tears, you know, and things like, but going back to them days, I remember being 15. I remember watching Kid Rock at the amphitheater for the very first time, and that blew my mind at 15. I mean, I watched him come rolling out on a Harley Davidson and blow that thing up right underneath of his legs. Just pow, blew it all sky high. And that was his start to his show. Then he came out and sang American Badass right after that. And I'm like, yes, this is awesome, you know? So I knew at those moments, like some of those moments, that I was going to, you know, something was instilled inside of me that I wanted to be that person. I wanted to be on the other side of it. Instead of watching, I wanted to be the entertainer. But I never knew how to get there because you just don't. Everybody has their own path, no matter what. Like if you just because it worked for one person doesn't mean that it's going to work for the next person the same way. So like, I guess like I feel like if I was playing battle of the bands at 15, I was in a rock band. I was a drummer. I was having, you know, a really good part of my life at that point. You know, I just jamming with my cousin. Every day I would get up and I would go straight down to my cousin's house and he would play on that half stack Marshall and turn that thing up, and I was in heaven with those drums. And I knew I could get away with whatever was going on in my life. I could get away from that and play music. And for those moments, like while you're playing, you're just in the moment. You're not thinking about anything else that's going on, none of the drama, none of the problems in life, nothing. And really at 15, what kind of problems do you really have? See, that's to me, that's a normal thing. To him, it's like I had a lot, and he dealt with a lot, you know. So he had to grow up a lot faster than what I had to grow up, and I realized that, you know. But still, what's cool about it all is that somehow I remain faithful to God, and I always try to do the right things and try to be that person, like carry that load of responsibility, you know. And I've always kind of been that way since because I've watched my dad. I watched my dad go get up with a back that hurt him every day and go to work, and he retired from the railroad. You know, he's from 35 years. I watched my mom do the same thing. They worked for a living. I watched them go. They get up every morning and go, and I respected that. You know, I knew that they were doing that to give me a good life, and my brother and my sister, you know, not just me. But it's one of those things where, like, you know, I had God in my life at a really young age, and I just felt like he always had his hand on my shoulder going, look, I got you. You know, you're not going to move here. You're not going to go there. You're not going to go there. But then there was times when I got in trouble. That's when the door slammed, and there was nobody else but me, you know, and myself to defend it. And my faith was the only way I could get through it. And I did it. You know, I didn't get in any fights, didn't have to. You know, I learned how to be smarter than the system. I think that was a lot of it. I didn't, and I've got to be in 6'9" and 315 pounds, you know, where I don't have to really think about life as being scared of another individual. He talks about being scared of another individual. I've never been scared of anybody in my life. So, well, my dad, take that back. My dad was the
talking
only,
about when I was younger?
yeah, when he was younger. You know, I've never had to
that
endure
taught me
that.
not to be scared.
Yeah, that taught you not to be
So
scared.
that's when you got around me.
Yeah. When I got around him, I liked the way he walked. I liked the way he carried himself. You know, I didn't even know anything about his music and stuff. I didn't know anything about any of that stuff. But if you take all that out of the way, and I never heard him on a track, he would just stand up. He would stand up in ways where, you know, remember whenever I was supposed to quit smoking cigarettes a long time ago, and then they tried to like stop. They tried to like get me to stop smoking cigarettes with the whole label thing when I first met you.
Oh yeah.
They tried to get me to stop smoking cigarettes, and at that I've stopped now, but at that point I didn't want to.
Well, it wasn't just about a cigarette; it was just about a control.
It was about the control factor. Okay, and I knew it. I was like, why? You're not going to do that. You're not going to do that. He felt that a long time ago, and I didn't even know him. He just felt that. He's like, man, you should stand up for yourself. You don't need to take that from them. Stand up for yourself.
It's like they want to sign him, but they wouldn't even. He didn't have no money, no gas, no nothing. They
And
wouldn't give him
help me.
$20.
I literally was to the point to when I met Joe that the heater was broken in the truck. The transmission was blown out of the Camaro. I didn't have a job, no income coming in, but I loved Beverly to death. When I had Beverly, and when you have somebody that's tight, you can get through whatever. It doesn't matter. You can sleep in a car together, for the night and get through it. And that's what's beautiful about having a relationship with somebody you love. I mean, and I guess like getting back to what I'm trying to say, music's always been a part of my life, and I've always went to it for not to get away, but for the fun side of it, like to have fun.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what I was doing, if I had a crappy day, I could sit down on the drums and turn that song on that I love so much, and I could play the drums to it, and I would just get away and have fun. And when I moved to Iowa, though, in 2020, not 2020, but 2012, 2013 maybe, moved to Iowa, worked at a factory there with my aunt and my uncle. My aunt and uncle, Tim was the general manager of that place, so I kind of got a shoe in at that place, which was nice, So I was like, I don't care, I'll drive 8 hours if you're going to guarantee me a job. I'm doing it, and I did, and I ended up making a life out of it for 4 years. But it taught me, there I taught myself how to play guitar. That was one thing that I never knew how to do and I always wanted to do, but I'd watch my dad do it, and he would just be real fluent and simple, and he'd just get through stuff so easy, and I'd always be like, man, Dad, how are you doing that? And I remember trying to ask him to play the guitar on the porch one day to teach me how to do it, and he was like, son, you don't want to go down that, just stick to the drums. You don't want to go down that road. That's a rough road to go down. You can't be good at everything. And I'm like, yeah, I can. I want to learn it. And I did. It wasn't, Dad showed me a couple chords, but I took off on my own. I moved to Iowa. Like I said, I bought a Dustin. He still got the guitar that I bought that I learned on. I couldn't believe that. He told me that the other day. 2013, he said, yep, I still, the Blue Johnson that you bought from the garage sale for $10, he said, I still got it. I'm like, you still have that guitar? He's like, I still got it, man. He's like, I'm like, that is the coolest, because that's what I taught myself. I've locked myself in a room like this for a month and just played until my fingers bled, until I figured it out. Now I can pick up a guitar, put it in tune by ear in 2 seconds and play whatever.
In a minute, I'll tell you my guitar story. When I was trying to learn, when I was young.
I mean, I just locked myself in a room. I made it happen. I tuned it to drop D. I tried to, and it wasn't about the singing part. It was about learning how to play that. But I was jamming Creed a lot. Creed was a big inspiration to me. I always loved Creed. I don't know why. I just did back then growing up.
When my uncle died, when I was 18, that was his favorite band. And Creed had just came out, and they had the song "My Own Prison."
Yeah,
that was my favorite song.
Creed was everything.
Yeah,
they were all over the place. I mean, it was crazy. And I went and watched them live actually 2 or 3 times. Growing up, I remember seeing them in Columbus. I seen them in Cleveland. I seen them all around Ohio area. But cool thing about it is what I knew how to sing some Creed songs because I would sing to the steering wheel driving, and I thought, man, I wonder if I can play that hook of that song and learn these chords and play them, and I can make it through it. If I could do that, that'd be cool. So I just sat in a room, and nobody wanted to hear it back then. That's the cool part. Yeah. I always had the guitar, and I was trying to show off with it, right? And it was just to my friends, though. It was just, and they're all getting sick and tired of it. Like, you just suck, bro. You're not going to do this.
So put the guitar down.
Put the guitar down.
Let's drive cars.
Yeah, let's go drive. Let's go have some fun, because that's what it's always been about. It's racing and music, right? That's my 2 big things in life. Well, 3, family.
And what's his name? Dustin, he even said he got a guitar. You got a guitar for him or something like that, just so he could be able to hang out with you more. So he wanted to learn to play too.
He wanted to learn it because I was playing so much all the time that when I wake up, as soon as I get up, I get on that guitar. And I didn't know a lot, but I would just try to teach myself stuff.
Like, so how can I hang out with Jesse? I'm gonna go buy a guitar.
We get a guitar, and he did. He ended up getting a guitar, and he learned. He learned too. He so to this day, I can talk to him and tell you about. He would put his fingers on those spots that I taught him and play those, because I didn't stop until he did it. That's how you teach somebody. You push them until they get it. And then if they don't get it, you keep pushing them until they get it. You don't stop, you don't give up on them, because that's what happens. You know, that's what he did with me. He would not let me give up. You know, there was time, like the confidence level and stuff when I met him, I was just like, I'd always be like, man, I know I'm good at this, but I don't know if I know how to do that very well. You know, it's always this or that.
But now you got it.
And now it's put together, but it wasn't like that. You know, it wasn't like that to begin with.
I knew where he was supposed to be. Even now, things are going slow, and they always have been. We should be in a bigger spot than we are right now.
Yeah,
we do have a good fan base, but we could be bigger.
I think we could be
with the right resources. We just now got a video guy. I've been trying to do it all for a long time, as far as videos, mixing the stuff and all that. But we just now got someone to help us do the catalyst. If we would have had that a long time ago, we'd be in a higher, better spot than we are now. So now we're still trying to just pick up the pieces and go work with what we have. Has been the motto from day one. Just trying to work what we have.
Hell, man, when we made Welcome to My House,
junkie camera,
and it was on the radio, and it was
the video was just garbage.
Yeah, he woke me up at 6:30 in the morning for Welcome to My House, and I'm like mad. And it shows in the camera if you look now, you'll see it. Like, I'm pissed
because we just did a video the night before, and these guys that we didn't know very well at all had spent the night at my house, and they had to leave 6 in the morning. They said, I was like, well, I got one more video I want to do tomorrow. I need guys for it, for the thought I have in my head.
Those were the guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it was like 8 or 9, and they're still there, and they're all bitch like, we want to go, man, we got to get out of here. I was like, hold on, let me go get Jesse up. So, come on, we got to do this video. This is the only time we're gonna have these people. We got to do this video.
It was like, he was like, you know, I'm sleeping.
I'm like,
and he's just, let's go,
let's get stuff done. My drive is crazy.
Having that will push you to do things out of your comfort zone you didn't think you'd be able to do. And that's exactly what I did. I did a video that turned out, I mean, if we could do the video again, it'd be 10 times better now than what it was. But
for what it was, it's amazing. It's you always see what we record on. When we say God's plan, we mean that.
Right.
Y'all did all that with
very bare minimum.
Still to this day, we record
still on the same mic
on a junkie busted. They don't even have a side on it.
The
front of us busted. It's like $150 computer.
Just goes to show you don't need a multi-million-dollar studio.
The guy from Universal Records came to my house to help me upload some. I had bought a new computer.
That was funny whenever that guy said that.
He had to stop and take pictures.
He said, "There's no way. There's no way."
Y'all made a multi-million-dollar song with less than $500 worth of equipment here.
Yep.
And that's what we did, and we still to this day we use that. No one knows how we do it. I don't even know how it works, but we make it happen.
He brought it over to the house the other day, and I ain't recorded in how long now? 3 months.
Everything you heard earlier from my phone is off this busted up old Dell with Windows XP.
Yeah, with Windows XP on it.
With a blue Spark mic, interface that they don't even have drivers for no more. You can't hook it to no other computer except for that old one. It's just the least expensive.
Very, 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 very simple.
And it works great for us. And if we tried on anything else, it don't work.
It just doesn't sound
Nothing
right.
works.
It's because we're used to that certain sound, and we want that back all the time. So it's easy to get it when you record on that same mic. And you know, I just fell in love with the way he writes more than anything. I love it, man, because he writes with such compassion and such conviction.
And I write about the things I've been through in life, so other people feel it. Everybody's always like trying to figure out the secret to write, and a lot of people think what other people want to hear.
I'll tell you this much: music is real. Real is what everybody wants to hear. Nobody wants to hear a fabricated certain somebody.
I don't want to give everybody my secrets, but I wanted to tell you, like, the thing is, man, like, people are always thinking about what's catchy, like, what do people want to hear, and they're always trying to come up with something. But the answers are already just in you. Like, what they want to hear is exactly what they feel. And with us all being human, our minds pretty much think alike. So if you just write it just the way it is, exactly how you feel it, and you just put it on paper, and then you turn it to a song, but when someone else hears it, they're going to hear it just the way they feel it. And that's why so many comments you read from us say, man, it's like you took the words right out of my head. It's like you know me. It's like you've been following me around with a camera or something.
And a lot of times, too, the stuff that he'll be bringing up to me, he'll be like, this is going to be a hit, bro, I promise. And I'll be like, I ain't feeling it. I don't know about all that, bro. I don't know. Like this last one, I was like, It's all right. Then I heard it back after we recorded. I was like, hit. Like, I already know this now. I got it. Like, I get where he's coming from. You know what I mean? I get it.
So when you put it like just real, and you make it real, and you tell the truth, like people can feel that, and they relate to it. Like a lot of people like, how Newbreed's all right. He's not very lyrical. Well, I can be. I got songs that are so lyrical it just blows people's mind. If when I show it to them, they're like, "Dang, man!" But I don't want to do that all the time because it's like I want to make music that lasts. I don't want to be like catchy and what's hot now, you know, and just
something with a shelf
a
life.
trend or something. I don't care about none of that. I want to make music that makes sense and makes people feel it and makes people have something to relate to.
I said that earlier.
That's what I
Timeless
look
music.
through my whole. That's what I look for my whole life. With me listening to music, all the stuff I was going through, I would do anything just to hear something I could relate to. And when I found it, I just played it all so much over and over.
Mm-hmm.
If it was all gimmicky and stuff like that, I can't listen to it. So that's why you don't see none of that in my writing, because I just can't relate to it. Like a lot of happy songs I don't write because I didn't never see that. So I just write.
But it's okay because hard times makes good music.
Yeah.
It really does. It's a proven fact. It's been a thing that's been going on for a long time in the music industry. Everybody can relate to a hard time. It's hard for somebody to relate to something good. You know, but you can relate to something hard all damn day because you're forced to remember those hard times. That's why it makes you relate to them. And good music is supposed to take you back. It's supposed to make you feel like, man, that was awesome. I want to hear that again. You know, like I remember all. I remember.
Well,
It's supposed to make you feel like you're riding like a certain memory. Like I remember hearing it's "I'm gonna live where the green grass grows."
Oh,
Yeah, okay, Tim McGraw. I heard that song and I remember riding in my dad's '64 Impala. Like it's weird how a song will relate you to something. Well, that's what we do when we make music.
That's
like
how my life is.
yeah,
Like when I think back to memories, I have to think back to songs.
mm-hmm.
Like they're like, hey, you remember back when
yeah, what
like
year
somebody
that song
won a
come out?
championship, and I have to correlate a song that came out during that time period, and then be like, oh, those days, and I remember by that song, and then that's how my whole life is. Like it's for some reason in my head it's all music related. Everything is music related inside my mind. That's how I remember dates and stuff, is by what songs were out at that time or what era that was in music. What happened with me in the guitar thing, because I've wanted to play guitar since when I started singing that little tape recorder at 6 years old. I already listened to rock, and all I ever dreamed about was being a guitarist on stage, and I couldn't really sing. That's why how Jesse comes in. I couldn't really sing, but I wanted to always write my thoughts and feelings and make it into a song. And that's why I became a rapper, because some people, you know, I lost jobs throughout my life because I rap. Well, when the boss finds out, oh, you rap, and they might have a certain outlook on it.
Stigma puts a stigma on you.
And all of a sudden, they're like, I don't last long after that at that job because they found out I rap, or I'm trying to, you know, pass out CDs and stuff like that. Like, hey, let me get one of them CDs, and I really don't want to give it to them. You know what I mean? I don't want them to hear what I'm rapping about or talking about or something, because then they're gonna look at me different and not want me to work there no more. But anyway, after you do it, then they all just like, you know, look down on you and stuff, and you don't keep your job long. So I lost relationships, I lost everything because of music. But my story with the guitar and how as a child I didn't get to play guitar like I wanted to is, so my uncle, I'm probably not gonna say his name, but anyways, they lived across the street from me, and my mom had did something. I don't want to get to this right here now, but it was so terrible that they started moving me around through the family everywhere. Like, let them go somewhere else and somewhere else. So I went to live with my aunt and uncle across the street. Well, my uncle had these tapes. He was watching Vince Gill, and that was his favorite guy. And he had these tapes that was teaching him how to play these songs on guitar. And he had electric guitars and acoustic guitars. And he said, hey, you want to learn how to play? And I was just like, man, I always want to learn how to play guitar, like my whole life. So he gave me this black guitar, and I sit down on the couch by him, and he sit over there, I sit over here, and I was like, man, finally somebody's gonna hang out with me and like do stuff with me and teach me something. Like, this is amazing. But see, it wasn't just my mom's boyfriends or husbands or anything like that was like violent in my childhood. Other people in the family and just different people in general. It was always something. So I was happy at this moment. And I remember he taught me how to play something about Yellow Rose of Texas. the guitar. So he showed me that, and he showed me Johnny Be Good, and I picked it up quick, and I was like so excited that I was learning how to play the guitar, and he was watching these tapes, like I said, with Vince Gill and everybody, and he was learning. So he was gonna show me all this other stuff. So man, I was just more excited about it. Every day I wake up and I just couldn't wait. I couldn't wait till him put them tapes on, and I could sit there on the couch by him, and just
I know that.
just even if I didn't learn a song, just him hanging out with me, and like doing something positive. So I remember one night, I was laying in my aunt and uncle's bed, and I was sleeping. And for a while there, I guess my aunt, she was kind of like being like standoffish towards my uncle. Like they had like young kids, and my aunt would always let the kids sleep in bed with them. And my uncle, I remember always hearing him complain about it, and they would fight about it. And my uncle, now sometimes he would get real drunk, and what I'm talking about when I say my uncle was my mom's sister's husband, so it wasn't my blood. My aunt was my blood relative. The uncle would have been, but he was always there since I was little. So anyway, I was my aunt was always letting her kids, they were real little, sleep in the bed with them. And I remember hearing him complaining. They would fight about it sometimes. And like I was saying, I remember my uncle, when he would get mad and go out drinking, because he didn't drink, but when he did, this is why he didn't drink, he would do absolutely crazy stuff. So they had this real nice porch built into the front of their house, all wood. I watched them build it. And it took them a long time to build it, and all screened in, and aluminum roof and everything. And he came home one night drunk with a Ford Bronco, and he drove straight through the porch and into the house, just in a mad rage, and just tore the whole porch down after it took him so long to build this nice porch and stuff like that. So I knew in the back of my head, because I lived right across the street at the time at my mom's house, and I was going through what I was going through over there, but every once in a while I see my uncle do something crazy. And he would teach me how to play guitar, so I was happy. I overlooked the bad stuff. It's like, well, I'll probably be pretty safe. I was like, I'll probably be pretty safe. Like, what's the chances of something bad happening while I'm here? It probably won't. So I'm happy with what's going on right now, so I'm good. So one night, my aunt told me, because they were up late watching movies or something like that, go sleep in her bed. So they must have been fighting about it. I don't know, because I was sleeping. But once again, he was mad because this time she didn't have the kids sleeping in the bed. They fell asleep somewhere else in the house, and my aunt had me sleeping in the bed. So he was flipping out, like, I can't believe this. Like, I needed a long time with you. Me and you could be in the bed like we're supposed to be. So all I remember hearing is someone screaming and me waking up, and I was around 7, 8 years old. And I remember someone screaming. I woke up, and on the floor at the end of the bed is my uncle and my aunt, and they're naked. And my uncle's on top of my aunt. He's holding her down. He's like, I know you can't say certain things. So he was trying to assault my aunt. And I sat up, and my aunt immediately saw me sit up, and she told me to turn around, don't look or whatever. And I remember my uncle's voice was loud, and he was like, hey, put your head underneath the covers now. And oh, shoot. And like I said, he was on top of her and just trying to do stuff with her, and she was screaming. It was a crazy thing going on, and I didn't know what was happening. I never knew nothing about nothing like that at that age. And I remember I put my head underneath the cover, and then my aunt kept telling me, run, Joe, get out of here. But I couldn't. I was too scared. So I remember I come back out from underneath the cover, and I was thinking, like what'd I do? And then he yelled at me again. I said, put your head underneath the cover. And he was cussing and everything. I'm not going to say all the words, but I said, put your head underneath the covers now. Okay, I put my head back underneath the covers. And I remember I was just under the covers shaking. And I was just so scared, and I was crying. And I remember my aunt, she like fought away from him, and she got up and she ran through the house, and I heard her footsteps all the way. When you're in that situation, like everything you could hear, because you can't see now because I'm under the covers, but everything I can hear stands out to me. And I remember hearing him like, get back here. So he went chasing after her. And as she's running, she's yelling to me to run, get away, leave the house. So I'm like scared. Like, I don't know if I can make it. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen to me. You know, when you're a little kid, you're way more scared. So I remember taking a chance. I got up, I ran out of that room, and then you have to go through this little dining room area and down these little stairs and into the living room, and then there's the door, the front door. And I remember I got to the door, and I was just shaking so bad, and I tried to open the door, and it was locked. And I was like trying to, and in front of the door was the guitars and these remote control cars. I wanted this one 57 Chevy red remote control car he had. I wanted it so bad, man. I wanted it forever. I used to always asking for it, and he would never let me have it. But here it is, it's busted on the floor. And I'm like, dang, man, I wanted that. But at a time like this, I can't really think about it. But I couldn't believe it. Then I look around me, and there's guitars. They're all busted everywhere. And I'm like, man, all this good stuff, it's just, they must have been fighting for a while I was sleeping. So anyway, I'm still trying to open the door. So I finally get the door open. I had to reach up and do a deadbolt and everything. And I was just shaking so bad because they're in the house somewhere, and I don't want them to think, you know, that I'm gonna get them in trouble or something, because I know something bad's happening. So I run across the yard, and I run as fast as I can. I'm trying to get to my mom's house across the street, and I'm running. And by the time, before I can even get out of his yard, I hear gunshots. So what he had did in the past, I think he only did it once or twice maybe, but he did it this night. He just got his gun out and he started shooting through the roof, the walls, everything. So I'm hearing these gunshots, and I'm still in their yard. I haven't made it to the road yet, and I'm trying to go as fast as I can. And I hear them gunshots, and it's just my heart, and I'm running faster. I start thinking as a kid, he's shooting at me. I'm like, man, he must have seen me get away. He's trying to shoot at me, and I'm just so scared. So I get over to my mom's house, and I beat on the door, bang, 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 bang. My mom, she's sitting in the living room watching TV. So I come in there, and she's like, what is it? What's going on? And I was like, Uncle, so-and-so, whatever. He's doing this. She's like, that was him shooting? I said, yeah. And she's like, he shot through his house? I was like, yeah. It's like, and it was a lot of bad stuff. I was like, I got to come here. I can't. My aunt told me to run. It was her sister. She told me to run. And, she told me to get out of there. I'm coming over here. I'm too scared. You gotta let me in. So my mom let me in. So I didn't know what was happening across the street, but I was scared to death that he was going to come because I got away. And I knew he told me to lay down and put my head underneath the cover. So obviously he didn't want me to get away or nothing to go nowhere. Maybe he didn't want no one to know. I don't know. But I wasn't where he told me to be at, and I was scared. And I saw all the damage he done did and what he was doing to her. So I was like terrified. So the worst thing I ever heard was my mom say, well, here he comes now. He's walking over here. I was like, oh no, I don't know what to do. And she's like, well, go hide. So I went back to my old room, which is right around the corner from the living room. I went in there and I looked around for a place to hide. And my brother, we had bunk beds, and my brother sleep on the bottom bed, and the top bed is mine. And I didn't want to get up there though, because I thought he was looking for me. Like I said, when you're a little kid, you think everything, they're coming to get you. So I remember I went under the bed, under my brother's bunk. I scooted up underneath there until I was right up against the living room wall. So I remember hearing him knock at the door. Doom, 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 doom. My mom came to the door, and she's like, what is it? And I swear I thought he was going to ask for me. You know, like I said, just being a kid, you think the boogeyman's out to get you and everybody's going to get you. He wasn't there for me. I thought he was going to ask for me. But he said, Brenda. That's my mom's name. He's like, your sister won't do nothing with me. So you're going to suck my...
Oh my God, bro.
And she said, well, I can't do that. You're my sister's husband. And he said, I don't give a... You're going to do it. And she kept saying, well, I can't do it. And he just barged in. He's like, you're going to. And then I just had to stay underneath the bed. And he left. So then I was like, it's so weird to be happy over something so messed up just because he wasn't there for me. Like, it wasn't going to hurt me.
But it's only, it's only human to feel that way though, bro.
Yeah.
You, especially as a kid, man. You were a kid.
And that's what happened to my guitar learning. That's why I didn't get to play the guitar. After that day, I never had a guitar again. until last few years.
Sure, I remember whenever I first came around in Texas, and
people always say, "Why you got so many guitars?"
yeah,
Well,
I come around in
that's why I
Texas,
got so many guitars.
and I remember riding in the car with him and Brandy, for about 15 hours all the way from Alabama to Texas, and I heard
I remember
every
getting you to take the guitar in the car and play
yeah,
it.
that's what I was
You and
about to
Beverly
say,
in the back
because
seat, a
we
small
were
little back seat.
back seat. I had my guitar out, and we're riding down the road, and I'm jamming, bro, back there. He's turning around, and looked at me, he goes, "I didn't know you could play guitar like that. I had no idea you
Yeah,
could do
man.
that." And I was playing one song after another, like my own jukebox, pretty much back there.
Yeah, since I went through that when I was young, and I wanted to know the guitar so bad and everything like that. So for someone to know how to do it, it's like
He
I
freaked
can
out,
sit
kind
there
of.
all day
He was
long.
like just stuck to it. Like, how's he doing this? How's he doing it? And then it turned into me playing a song at the funeral, and then he was like, "Teach me how to do that." He was sitting there back there. I felt like it was a video shoot, like I was preparing myself for something, back then. And it sucked that it had to be for the situation that it was in. But I'm thankful in a way, though. I think God did that. Like well, this person's, going to go through this path, going to walk down this path. So, this is what's going to happen, because he knows. The only person that knows is him. So he's going to walk down his path, this guy into his path, and then they're both going to excel. And it's crazy that it happened like it did, but like my dad says it all the time. He says, you need him and he needs you. You guys are strong powerhouse.
And it's weird how it works like that too, because I can put out a solo and it does pretty good numbers, and he can put out a solo, it does pretty good numbers. But every time we go together, it just does double.
Big time.
Even when we go live, it's the same thing.
It's the same thing. I mean,
live on Facebook.
It's wild how it works, but I'm just thankful that it happened that way. But I remember he tried to play the guitar so much after that, and then he couldn't get it out of his hands. Like, he just wanted to learn how to play it.
For so many years, I just never had one. I couldn't ever afford one my whole life.
I taught Dirty how to play guitar too. He never done it. He never picked up a guitar in his life. And I said, "Oh, it's easy, bro." And I was like, "Play these two chords like this." And he's like, "That's all I gotta do." He just freaked him out. Like, he's like, "I can't believe it."
Yeah, Dirty, man, he just took off.
Then he started making songs with one string. I'm like, it's all it takes. All you gotta have is you just gotta have that note, and your voice has to follow it. And he knows that. And it just took off from there with him.
But since all that had happened, back then with that's why for a long time I never played the guitar. Like, I always wanted to, but never got to. So when I got around people that knew how to play guitar, it's just like
it's funny.
Pick up
play
right
it
back.
Again. Play it one more time.
Yeah, pick back right where I left off.
Yeah.
Like how much I loved it and wanted to hear it. It's just like I was just mesmerized by it, and then to the point to where even I didn't have no choice for a while. I didn't have no producer or nothing, and I didn't have no one to work with. And this is back not even that long ago, 2020, right before I met Jesse and stuff. I didn't have no one to work with. My producer, Eddie, he went MIA for a while. I guess he was going through some stuff. And I needed a guitar on some songs. So I just learned some chords. And then I surprised myself because the first song that I ever played guitar on, in 3 months, I already had 1 million views. And I was like, man, that's crazy, because I didn't think I could do it. And it's like all the time, it's like I'm always proving something to myself in life, that when I think I can't do something, I can do it. But it's always just like I have to do it on my own. I mean, like, I can't rely on other people for things. I have to. It's like I always be tested like that. You have to do it, and it don't have to stay that way. But just as long as I show myself I can do it and know that I can, and I overcame that battle, it's like then. It's like I'm free after that from whatever the situation is.
Well, once you believe in yourself, you get over some things. But then when other people believe in you, that makes it even more crazy. Like when you have like other people that are going, "Hey, you're right. You're in the right lane. You're doing this for the right.
That's what I told you in the beginning. You can believe in yourself, but if you have someone else that
pushes you,
it doubles your power. And a lot of people don't even have that one other person that believes in them. They might say they do. A lot of people just say that if their family or something, "Yeah, I believe in you." They don't really feel it. I told them a long time ago, it's like, like for him singing what he can do, like I believe he can be the top. He can be the best singer in the world.
He calls me the best singer in the world, and I sit here and go, I got a lot of work to do in my mind. But it's only because of the level that we're at. That's really all it is.
I tell him, if you believe in yourself, like I believe in you, that just doubles the power. Like, you're going to be able to do it, man. You got to believe it. And then he started believing it.
I did. I started believing in myself, and then everything kind of like started clicking. I just would put in the work. Like that's what a lot of artists, I think younger artists coming up, honestly, like best advice I could give them at all is just don't take no for an answer. Because people are always going to go, that's not good enough. You're never going to make it.
I always knew we were going to make it.
Yeah.
I told him we were going to go number one.
You did. He come running out the door after welcome to my house and was like, it's going to change our life, bro.
Like, dude,
like our life, we will never be the same. It'll never be the same. He was freaking out about it. Like it'll never be the same. I can't believe it.
I wrote 2 other people and told them we're going to go number one.
Yep.
And they're like,
before it happened.
No way. And I was like, we never even been on charts before, but anything, and no number ever. And I just knew that song was going to number one. It's like, I knew it was going to happen one day, that I was going to get to a point where there was going to be a song that was going to go number one. And it's just because all the things that I went through, like some of these stories I'm telling you now, I kept thinking in my head, how, like people laugh at me and tell me you're never going to make it, dude. Like you can't do it. And I'd be like, why? Yeah. How did I go through it? There's a reason I did all. There's a reason I had to be put through this stuff, because they always say, it gets worse before it gets better. Yep. And I always just tell people, well, my story is going to be way worse, but one day it's going to be way better.
Way better.
Let's talk about this, guys. How did y'all link up and become, like, how did New Breed and Jesse Howard become like what they are? Like, how did that happen?
Let's see. I started Outlaw Nation in 2015, and I was screaming it in Mobile, Alabama like crazy. And everybody kept asking me what it was and what it meant. And at that point, I really didn't even know. I just thought it sounded cool.
Okay.
And so it was just something that I came up with, like a jingle, you know.
Yeah,
like.
And you got a tattoo.
Yeah. And then I got the tattoo, you know, of the Outlaw tattoo. And then I put the Nation on the bottom of it, because it's like, it evolved into that. But I was playing shows and stuff in Mobile, Alabama, and all around that area. I was having all the problems online with certain people, and you know, Joe New Breed came out of nowhere. You know, like I said, we talked in Texas with we had a mutual friend that passed away, and we were at his funeral, and that's kind of like the first time I got to really see him, seeing how he walked, seeing how he carried himself. You know, I'm about that. Even off camera and stuff or whatever, outside of social media, like how are they, what kind of person they are. Like he's the same way. Didn't know that at that time, but we were both looking at each other like that, kind of in a way, like testing each other out. And then
we had went to all these bars that night in Texas.
We did, and that's whenever I kind of knew, because I'd seen a different side of him that night at the bar. Like he was, you know, he just walked with the passion, with the conviction. Like he just had that, like, I got this. I don't care about whoever's in my way kind of attitude. And I appreciated that, because I was like more like, I don't really know what to do. You know what I mean? I'm at the level where I don't know what to do.
We was around people that really, we weren't really feeling them. So me and Jesse kind of like stuck to ourselves.
We did. We kind of like, we just was like pushed off. Like we just kind of clicked away from them a little, from that certain group the whole night. And we just talked, and I thought it was awesome. You know, I thought it was great that I met somebody, but I didn't think it was going to lead to this. That's the thing. I just thought I met a good buddy, a good friend, and that was enough, you know. And
he went back to Alabama. I went back to Florida. A few times I had some video stuff going on, or some songs I had wrote, and I hit him up. Hey man, you want to be in this video? Or hey, you want to do this one song? But it was, at the time, I was working a lot.
Mm-hmm. So he needed it right then and there, and there was times whenever like I couldn't do it. I couldn't get to him in those moments where he wanted it so fast, like, you know, to be in a video or to be in
much
this.
As I was working 7 days a week, doing construction, and I was running crews and doing these schools through the summer. You got to get the schools done before school starts back.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to work. Sometimes I won't get home till 11 o'clock at night. and so I couldn't make time to go pick him up. I just try to ask him, and I didn't know he was going through so much issues with cars and stuff like
I
that.
really was. Like
So,
I kept it to myself. I wasn't trying to make it somebody else's
so I
problem.
felt kind of like maybe it's he just don't want to do it, or it's an
It
excuse
wasn't
or
that.
something. So I just quit bugging him about it. So for like 2 years we didn't talk or do nothing.
It's crazy. 2 years goes by. 2 years goes by after that day.
And what years did you say this was? Was this?
That
This
had to be like
was
2000,
2018, maybe
yeah. And
Fast forward to the 2020.
to 2020.
Okay.
so 2020 comes. It's near the end of 2020. I done moved to Tennessee, so I kind of thought I was closer to him then, but come to find out, it's about the same, just a little bit closer, a couple
Right.
hours closer.
Right.
But I saw that stuff going on down online.
He just read a post online. I mean, that's kind of like how it was going, how it really
I
happened.
reached back out to him, thinking, okay, maybe now he'll want to link up.
I was pissed. I
And-
remember being mad. I remember being
Well,
upset about the stuff.
I didn't think he would link up because of that. I thought maybe he'll now, like enough time went by, maybe like I see neither one of us have really went anywhere
Mhm.
since before. Like we still kind of like the
Same spot.
So let's try it. Like reach out to him, like, hey man, you want to come over here and work with me and get away from all that drama and people talking all that crazy. Like you're better singer than that.
Well, and at first I was like, yeah, okay, he's just like every other guy that wants to do that. You know, they say they talk the talk, or they're gonna walk the walk kind of thing. And he ended up driving that night. I couldn't believe it. Like for real, he left and he said, I'll be there. And I said, yeah, whatever. Like that in my head, I went, he might show up, you know, whatever. He drove from Tennessee to Alabama.
He lived
I was living in
Mobile.
Alabama at that
He
point.
lived in South Alabama. It was like 6 hours or something away.
Almost Florida.
So I drove all the way there. I got there in the morning time sometime.
Yeah, he knocks on the door and I wake up and he's like, you ready? I was like, you're not even going to sit down or nothing? He's like, nope, we got shit to do. I was like, okay. I get in the car.
We drive straight back.
Go straight back. And
you had music in mind at this point?
I had stuff wrote and ready to go.
So you was just like, let's make this happen.
And I was tripping out the whole time, like, because I'm like dumbfounded on how easy he's making it look, you know, like the shooting the videos, the
first day we kind of just hung out.
Yeah.
And
we rode four-wheelers. That was cool.
We started riding four-wheelers. I didn't know he knew how to ride good.
Yeah, he was tripping because I was like, he could ride.
And where I lived at, man, it's the coolest place ever to ride. All through the mountains. I lived on Ridge Top Road or whatever, and it's on top of a mountain.
Beautiful place, man.
And it was just like, if anybody ever want to ride four-wheelers, there's no better place to go than here probably. And you go ride down in the river, up and down the mountains, through little valleys and peaks. It was just so awesome, and we did it all day. Well, the next day we woke up, we started shooting this video. Shoot. It's a song called Freedom. It was a solo song by him.
Mm-hmm. He recorded it the night before. We recorded it the night before. And that's what was crazy. It's like we rode and then we recorded because I was like, man, my blood pressure's up. Like we've been riding all damn day. Yeah, and I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna get it done. Blown away by the words. I was blown away by the creativity. I was blown away by how fast he was getting things done. And then I remember
how good you sounded too. Like you never heard your voice.
I've never heard my voice sound like that ever. I was just top of. I was overwhelmed with, wow. I've been looking for this.
Universe minute.
You know, yeah. Put out the video. Okay, like we shot the video.
It was his birthday that day.
It was my birthday weekend too. Yeah. So you know, we had a little party that night, and it was like a timestamp in history with me and him that will never be. I'm thankful it happened. Like I'm super thankful that he had a song that kind of got me to where I sent it back to mom and dad, and mom was like, I like it. That's really good, you know. And then the video's good too. And I was like, really? I was like,
so the first one y'all did was just
Freedom.
Song,
yeah,
Freedom.
Yeah.
We didn't plan to be a duo.
Nah.
We weren't gonna do no music together.
Nah.
I wanted to help him, like the way I reached out to Dirty. I wanted to help him.
Yeah.
I saw he had time. One thing I hate, man, is to meet people, and how much I love music. I can't stand to meet somebody that has so much talent and it goes to waste. Yeah. I'm just like, I went in jail with people that were like, people always ask me, who's the best rapper you ever heard? Well, no one's ever gonna hear them because they're still locked up. Murder, multiple robberies, and got life in prison. So the guys that I know in my head is they would kill any rapper out right now. They're all in jail. So I hate to see talent wasted. So same with him. I was like, man, you can't just sit around and waste your talent. Like you got a gift, man. You gotta make it happen. I mean,
Yeah, I started realizing that too after he kept saying it, kept saying it. I mean, I kind of knew, but I just did, like I told you guys earlier, I didn't, I knew I had something inside. I just didn't know where to take it. I didn't know the direction to put it in.
I
You
You
said it
told,
know?
was a confidence thing too.
Yeah,
right.
very, very much a
And
confidence
I
thing.
told him he was behind because even where I was then,
Yeah, he had
I wasn't
videos with people with
somewhere,
a million, with a million views plus on them.
and I wasn't somewhere where I wanted to be yet, but I was doing pretty
Getting
good.
there.
I had started making pretty good money per month. That's how I was able to open a construction company of my own. So it's like my uncle always used to tell me, don't quit your day job. You need make music be your hobby, and you do it on the side and do the construction full time. Well, I never listened. I always lost so many jobs. I worked at 40 something construction companies doing the HVAC ductwork. Um, but my money started coming in from music all of a sudden, and my numbers had went up from the solos I did. I was able to take the money I made from music and start my own construction company. So music is what gave me a job. You know, like if it wasn't for
It was
music,
the opposite of
yeah, I would have never been able to start that company. And he even worked with me
Mm-hmm.
for the company. We was #1 in the world, still working out in the field, and it got to a point where it was hard because guys would come up on a job site and want to take pictures with you.
Yeah, they were like,
meet and greets.
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
and
Instead of working.
it became like just like
That was
a
crazy
hassle.
too. That was crazy thinking that. I remember making songs and sitting out in the parking lot and we're listening, to everything we did. And I'm just blown away by that. And then I'm blown away that we had made it on #1. And like, we're independent artists. We sat on top for not just a day or two or whatever. It was like,
27 weeks straight.
yeah, 27 weeks straight at #1
And then when we did go down,
for Welcome to My House.
and then when we did go down, it came back up. Like every other week, be #1 again, #1 again. And then when that year was over, the following year, January, floods and stuff happened in Texas, and people started blowing that song up again, and went back to #1 the next year. So I'm like, man, this is one of those songs that just lasts forever.
That's the thing too. The first track that me and Newbury got on together was Outlaw Man.
Mm-hmm.
Which is crazy now because Outlaw Man got picked up by Netflix by the Love on the Run.
Oh, fun fact. So that's the first.
The very first song that me and him put ourselves on is the one that made it on Netflix.
Yeah, like I was saying.
Later.
Right. Exactly.
So like I was saying, we started out, I was just going to help him out, do a solo album, just nothing duo. I had tried that with people. Every time it didn't work. And Justin Carter, the guy we went to his funeral, when me and him first met, was the last guy that I was going to do a duo album with. And I wasn't going to do it at first, but he kind of talked me into it. But then he passed. And then I was like, okay, well, done with that. So when I got with Jesse, I was just going to focus on him getting a solo career and me helping him. Didn't want nothing from him. I was doing good on my own already. Well, people kept saying, every time I go live and talk about what we got going on, helping him, they'd be like, why don't y'all do a song together? And we kept saying, nah. And they just kept on. So one day I'm driving in Virginia and I'm riding through the mountains and I was going to go visit somebody and those words that Hook Outlaw Man came to me. So I wrote it all down while I was over there in Virginia. So when I come back, I was like, hey dude, what do you think about the duo thing? Like, he's like, well, let's give it to him. I was like, so you want to do it? And he's like, why not? I was like, okay. I was like, I got this hook. I just wrote it in Virginia. You want to hear it? So he heard it, and it was instant. Like he loved it.
I started singing it instantly. I was like, the sun goes down tomorrow. I can't even sing it all.
I probably won't be around.
I probably won't be around. Cause I'm a rambling man with a gun in my hand and I'm wanted in this town.
But so he loved it so much and it matched like his persona and everything. And I even surprised myself, on my verses, like how good the verses were wrote. It's just everything was perfect about that song. I remember we had one last piece was the bridge, and he was laying down on my porch, because that's where he slept outside on the porch, the screen porch. And I remember he was laying there, and I kept playing that part over. I was like, well, we got a blank spot right here, and that's when we came up.
We'll be bloodshed on the riverside.
And so we ride. Yeah. And when all that came together right there, then we was like, dang man, like we got a song that has like multi-highlighted parts in it. It's perfect, especially for our first song together. And people loved it. That song got our highest numbers of any solo I did. I had some of the millions from the past, but it went the fastest compared to all those songs. I mean, this had 60,000 in the first week.
Me and him looking at each other like, what the heck, man? That's crazy, you know.
Maybe we should do more of these. So I started writing while he was there.
Yeah.
I already had Killing Me done way back in the day, but we redid it with him. And then another one that did really good. What was the other one Rocky was there for the video? One Hell of a Shame.
Yeah, One Hell of a Shame, yeah.
I had wrote that to a different beat a long time ago, and I had it a little different. But I had this other beat that Eddie had sent me, and I just put it to that, and it worked even better. And then I just fixed it up here and there, added some stuff to it, and then boom, we had One Hell of a Shame done. And we did like 4 songs before Welcome to My House.
Yeah, then we did we did that before Welcome to My House. But I remember when Welcome to My House came about, I remember being in that studio that night. I remember getting mad at myself because I couldn't hit the notes that he wanted. You know, I'm sitting there like pissed. Like I go in there and try. I mean, it's literally standing to a corner and just yelling to the top of my lungs into this corner trying to hit these notes.
Was it the y'all was coming in? Was it like the hook?
No, it was the. Well, yeah, it was the at the end of the you know, y'all was coming in that part, like hitting those notes way out like that, and then hitting the harmonies to them, hit another harmony, You know, that's
the first when someone tells you the words, you kind of want to say, y'all was coming in, now you're backing out. I'm like, no, you got to hold that out. You like let it drag.
Yeah.
That makes the song bigger. Like, so y'all was coming in, now you're backing out.
It's like it kind of changes changed the feel of it 100%.
Yeah, you kept trying to get that part, the drag out part, without losing your like voice cracking or anything like that, and you just kept
so hard to do to try to like, because once you lay one main line down, then you're like, all right, I got that part. That part's done. You know, and then you got to go back in. You got to do ins and outs. And then you got to do
trying to do a harmony over it. That was because you got to go even higher and drag it out that long.
Higher note.
That's where he was getting most mad about.
I get so pissed at myself, but it paid off. I mean, it did. By being mad at myself, I was like, I want this to be perfect. I don't want it to be. I don't want to hear it back and go, I could have done that better.
Did y'all two and Eddie, was Eddie in there when all this was going on?
No.
But Eddie produced it.
Eddie produced it.
Dirty was there that weekend, but he wasn't in the studio when we recorded the hook. I think he was sleeping somewhere. But like the next morning, I know he was walking up the driveway when we pulled up, and we had just wrote the first verse. His first verse.
That I'm a stand-up for mine.
We had one at Denny's. Hardee's, and came back, and on the way back, it's a 12-minute ride. On the way back from Hardee's, we had it wrote by the time I got to the house.
Shout out Hardee's, dude.
Yeah, man, Hardee's, bro, gotta love it.
Oh yeah.
I like the big hot ham cheese sandwich. That's pretty damn good from there.
Yeah, dude. So like,
actually, that's where I want to go with you.
Yeah.
When y'all did that song, did it hit differently for y'all other than the other 4 that y'all done? Did y'all know that one was different?
we pushed it.
I knew it was going number 1.
He knew. I didn't.
You just thought it's another dope
I just
song,
went, okay, let's go to the next one. And then we did Stand Our Ground right after that. And I remember the next morning waking up to hearing Stand Our Ground playing, you know, and I was like, wow, like he stayed up all night and mixed this damn thing, and like he just went.
Stand Our Ground out after that would have been another big hit too, but because we put it out before, it was like it didn't reach its potential. Yeah, man, that song could have been huge too. That's still to this day one of our favorite, best songs. But I don't know what it is about Welcome to My House. I just knew what it was. You know what I mean? Like I've been waiting my whole life for that moment. Well, you know, everything I said I've been through. I knew it was all for a reason.
It's so much differently now.
And that
story.
And then that night in the studio, it was just me and the song. When he's sleeping,
I went to bed.
He's sleeping, and I'm in the studio by myself. It's like this feeling came, and it's just I kept pushing play and hearing it. And I was like, "This is what I've been waiting my whole life for. Like this is it. This is why I met him. This is why all this came together. Like this is right here. It is." I wrote my uncle, I'm like, "Hey, dude, like I got a song right here in front of me. It's gonna go number 1." And then he was sleeping. I wrote Rocky. I said, "Hey," it's like, "Man, I got this song. Like I'm telling you, it's gonna go number 1." And then the next day they're like, "How do you know it's gonna run? Like you never even been in the charts before." I was like, I don't know how I know. I'm just telling you, it's gonna go number 1. And the weird thing is when it went number 1, it didn't go like 72, 56, 39. It just went from nowhere unknown
to 1.
Just boom.
There was no building up. Like
we even we researched it.
What did it hit we'll get this part in because it's about to die. But I can switch phones; it'll be fine. I just want to finish. Wrap up this story. So when it went number one, was it like iTunes? Was it Billboard? Was it like on YouTube?
Okay, so it was number one on iTunes, number two on Billboard.
Right.
When it went number one, when we found out it was number one, it was number two on Billboard, number one on iTunes, and we didn't even know it was number one. It had been number one for 4 days already.
4 days.
We never knew.
Because y'all never.
We never charted, so why would we look?
Well, right. What's weird about it is, like I said, all these things are symbols, man, and like it all means something. So it was my daughter's first birthday. The song was wrote about my daughter. That's why I wrote it about the pandemic, and they say people's gonna start coming to people's houses during the purge and all that. And I was like, well, we bought some extra guns. I'm gonna protect my daughter, and I bet they're not gonna come to my house. I promise you that. And he felt the same way. So that's what I wrote the song about. It was about my daughter. So on her first birthday, you look around, all you see is ones everywhere because she would just turn one. So there's one everywhere. Balloons were one. The cake was one. Everything. So Beverly comes in and she shows me her phone. She's like, look at this, and she's holding it up, and it says, "Welcome to my house, number one." But at the top, it had this thing that if you was to go to the website for iTunes, we didn't have that, but someone had screenshot and sent it to us. So at the top, it has all the countries going in a circle. So it says China, United Kingdom, United States. Someone had screenshot it where it was like, I think Britain or UK. United Kingdom, I think that's what it was. Someone screenshot that point. So Beverly thought it was just UK. So she's like, look, we're number one in UK. Like,
I remember that too.
I was like, where'd that come from?
She just like, we was like, what?
It's like number one in UK, then we got to be something maybe in the United States, right? Something. I was like, where'd that come from? And she showed me the site. And I was like, I'll be back. I went outside of the car, just a moment with myself. And I just went and looked it up. And it said number one. And then at the top, it was every country. Like, it just kept spinning around, like United States, Japan, United Kingdom, Australia. I was like, wait, we're number one worldwide? So it was Noah's birthday party. Like the whole house was like number ones everywhere. And that's when we found out. And that's what I'm saying. What's weird because the song was about her, and then it was her first birthday, and like the signs were everywhere all around us. And then that's the same day we found out we was number one, and we had been number one for 4 days at that time. Never even been on the charts before. Like I said, it went straight to number one. No in between, no other numbers, just straight number one. And it stayed there like 27 weeks straight. The number two on Billboard. And it kept going back to number one. When it did finally go down, it would go down to 2, then go back to number 1, go down to 5, to go back to number 1. Then the following year, did the same thing. Then recently, we did so people hit us up about being in a documentary on Netflix, which we've never been on Netflix before, but always wanted to be on Netflix. Like, I want to get our documentary about us on Netflix. And I'm going to do everything I can to make that happen. And it's a multi-series documentary that I'm working on. It's going to be like 12 to 15 segments, all an hour each. Yeah. So it's going to be pretty cool. But anyways, we was on it's called Love on the Run. Casey White story. I guess our song Outlaw Man, and we have another song actually they wanted called Right Where We Belong. That was supposed to be in the movie, but they decided to just keep the Outlaw Man, even though we think that the other one fit their story more.
It fit it. The other song definitely fit the story
like
more.
To a T.
But the guy really liked
Outlaw Man.
You know, he liked Outlaw Man. He said he jammed it a lot. So,
and they said they was gonna put us in the documentary, and of course we got paid for it and everything like that. But people started hitting me up, man, you see your part in this documentary, and everybody started sending me clips. I didn't want to watch them yet till I watched it myself. So I started a documentary from the beginning and watched it, and it was shocking to see how it came about. Like, when the guy said it, and he said my name like clear as day, and then the next guy said
my name clear as day. I was like, good Lord, that's crazy, man.
Yeah, and it played the song in the background, and it just like showed them driving, like
the whole scene, the
whole
movie.
It was just so cool how it turned out. It's like right in the middle of the movie, it just pops in there like that, and it was just a shock to just boom.
Yeah, it sent goosebumps all the way down my body whenever I watched it the first time too. I was like, holy crap, this is wild.
What was cool is that movie was number one. I don't know if it still is or not, but for a while, when I did check, 2 times I checked, it was number 1 in the world, or for Netflix. And that was so cool to have the top played movie with our song in it. And they actually, like, it's not just, a lot of times people get a placement in a show or something or a movie, and it plays during the beginning or
They're
it plays
just in the
during the end.
background, kind
They
of.
actually spoke about us, said our
Yeah.
name, so it's like that song went to number 20 on the hip hop charts. The Welcome to My House is number 1 in rock charts. Well, that song went far as the last time I saw, it was number 20, and it could have went higher. I'm not sure, but all I know for a fact is Beverly showed me it went number 20 exactly in the hip hop charts. So that's even harder to get in the hip hop charts than I think than any other genre.
Yeah.
So we made it in 2 different charts, top 40 or whatever. So that's a pretty cool accomplishment.
Absolutely.
So going to the Outlaw, speaking about the Outlaw Nation, do y'all want to speak about y'all's family as far as the music, like the other artists that y'all have?
Yeah. I mean, Dirty, obviously, your boy Dirty came out of nowhere with us. He was like the core of it. And everybody kind of knows Dirty's story in a way.
He was there before Welcome to
Yeah,
My House.
yeah.
Like before we were popular, he got on board with us.
He was there. He was like, man, these guys are. This is where it's at. And he's right. He's a writer too, so it's easy to connect. Them two really connected really easy.
Yeah.
But Hitman, I've known Hitman way before Outlaw Nation, so Hitman definitely, he can write some hits, man. That's what I love about him. He's solid. He's a family guy. He cares about his family a lot, and that the family values go, and that's kind of our thing. We if we're gonna bring somebody up, we want to make sure that all their intentions are right and all their, because that's a big deal. You got to be humble about it, and everybody on the team is, which is beautiful, But we've had to weed out some of them, some of them.
That's the thing. Like the people that are supposed to be here are here.
Yeah.
And maybe in the future, the ones that are supposed to be here will get here. And sometimes they're not. The ones that people might have heard their name before with us, and then they don't hear it no more because they're not supposed to be here no more.
Right.
This is how it works out. Like
This
they weed themselves out. We don't never have conflict, and have arguments with people and have the long drawn out thing and go. There's some people that might try that towards us, but we don't feed into it or play into it.
Don't give it no gas.
It's just it's pointless. We're here to make music and we do it for the fans.
Right.
And
everybody on the team has that same kind of value too. Everybody that's on this team is doing it for the people. They're doing it for the right reasons. They're trying to feed their families with it, which is exactly the reason why you're supposed to be doing it.
we're not on no drama stuff.
Yeah.
We don't want no drama stuff. We let our music do the talking. The music speaks for itself.
Yeah,
I've been proud of that since day one. We let our music do the talking.
Yep.
We don't have to go in there and sell people and try to bribe them or get clout or have drama with anybody. None of that stuff. We just do the music, put the music out. Half the time we're just independent, do everything on our own. We don't even have no promotion team or nothing. We might just put a song out and be like,
There it is.
Brand new release. Here it is. Y'all been asking for it. It's here. Just drop it.
We don't do. We don't ever really do the
promo.
Yeah, the promo or like the pre-release stuff. We don't ever do any of that stuff. We get one done. We're like, okay, it feels right. Drop it.
Get
the video done.
Here it is, y'all. Because the music's going to do what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
And that's a testament to you guys following. Is that you don't have to rely on any of that. It's just off of y'all's core fan base. You know what I mean?
It's pretty wild, man.
Yeah,
it really is. Like it's so badass to me because the team has grown to something that is a big powerhouse now all together. And I look at it like a pyramid. Like everybody's got their roles, So, and if you put the pyramid together, it works really good.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like, there's no like to us. I don't think there's any. Nobody's better than each other.
Yeah, we treat everybody equal. I tell people all the time, we're just like anybody else. We don't try to be some big shot. They might look at us like
people do look at us like
top
that,
guys or whatever because we did start it, but we don't make no one feel that way.
Mm-mm.
And then we needed a female this whole time, and I've been looking for one for the longest. But Corey just fell right into it.
She really did.
She's perfect.
She was nervous too at first. I remember coming around and I kept saying, "You're in the right spot. Follow your heart. Your heart's telling you to be here."
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it's you're not. Nobody's going to throw you under the bus. Nobody's doing any of that stuff. Nobody's going to put you up on a shelf. Like, we're just not built that way. We're, you know, Corey is making her own lane with music, and that's the way it's supposed to be. Dirty's making his own lane with music.
We
That's the
try
way
to
it's supposed to be.
provide these guys with a platform to use from our fan base, because pretty much if we tell our fan base, man, this person is cool with us, we're cool with them, we're going to put them on a team, they automatically got a fan base.
Yep.
Our people believe what we say, and
that's very good. That you ain't lying, bro.
They
They're
know,
dedicated.
If we're saying they're good, and they're good people, they're going to take our word for it because they know who we are. That's the important thing about making a staple in your movement, to let the people know who you are, and when they trust you, they trust your judgment. And then our fans, like, they went from some of them went from going to a show and selling one shirt the whole show, or maybe none, to come to one of our shows and hear the fans say, I couldn't wait to see you at this show. I thought you might be here. You got shirts, you got hats. And then the people, the new artists that we, board, they say, man, I need more merchandise. Like, I sold out everything I have in the first hour. I don't have nothing to sell that quick, because the people been waiting to meet this new person that they heard about, because we have that platform and want to share it with people.
We want to share it. We want to give it to the people that actually deserve it, though.
The right people, the people that
are right people that are really trying to get after it and not have any not use drama to get there, I guess.
Yeah.
People so you got Dirty, you said Corey's the newest artist.
Hitman. The Sticks.
Yeah, we got the Sticks.
Man, I like the Sticks. I liked them for so long, man. And I always thought they were with somebody else. I think they kind of were at first when.
Yeah, they ended up following. They followed suit, and I'm very thankful for that, because they knew, they recognized it. They recognized it from day one when I met them. Like we're strong together, and there ain't nobody gonna take us down. Ain't nobody.
I like both of them guys. They're both super talented, and I just think that they are slept on a lot, and they should be way higher than where they are.
That's how I feel.
I'm trying to help them get there. I haven't been able to do my best. I've been going through a lot of things lately, but when I get back on track, I'm going to do my best to try to help them get to that point. But they have all the talent in the world to get there. It's just
they're patient, though.
I don't know what it is. Man. There's some type of something holding them back right now, but that's just because it's going to be bigger and better for them in the long run.
Yep.
But Trainwreck Kenny. He came on as a producer at first. He's like one of the guys that just kind of like worked his way into it. Yep. Like, I kept hearing more and more awesome verses by him that he was putting on tracks, and I kept being like, man, this guy started blowing my mind a little bit. Like, he's really a good artist.
Yeah.
Lyrical.
I remember him saying, man, I see something in him. I see something in him. I don't know what it is yet, but that was, we see it now. But back then, when we first started coming around, we didn't know.
It was just for the bass.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he wanted to be part of the team.
Yeah, he wanted to be a part of it. And I just,
like, the more he put out, the more quality I heard. It's just like, you got, I'm reading a thing right there that says show and prove.
Yeah, that's like, what I've been doing this since 06. That's what I started.
That's like what he did, Yep. And pretty much everybody that's been with us.
Of course, Eddie, obviously.
Yeah, man, he's been with me since years back. He did all my solo albums that I put out in the past.
I remember the first time I met Eddie. I remember getting out of the car. We were in Missouri. He come out rolling up in this busted ass old, like, Intrepid, like gold looking Intrepid with a door about to fall off of it. And he gets out of it and he's like stumbling. I'm like, bro, we're gonna have to get you a new car. He's like, that's crazy, like that. And he said, I know, man. I'll make some money and make a new car. That's what we're gonna make it happen. And this was before we knew we were gonna make money. Like, we just feel it. We just wait around. When you got mafia guys that won't leave you alone, trying to get you to sign a deal that doesn't make any sense whatsoever, that's how you start to know. Yeah.
Well, the cool thing about it was I was at Eddie's house in Missouri getting some songs done for my solo project when I had to talk with Jesse on the phone about me getting him coming to work with me. So I was outside of Eddie's back porch or his backyard area talking to Jesse on the phone about it. And Eddie overheard some of it. And he was like, man, you going to be working with Jesse Hard? I was like, yeah, I think so. I talked to him. He's like, man, that'd be a good team. Like, y'all, man.
He was all about it right from the get-go. He said, we did it. We did it. He kept telling me that. Like, he said he was thinking about it, like, really hard, because he had heard me do solo stuff. And I had worked with him on a project before that. That's how I knew Eddie.
He's got a great ear for music.
Very great ear for music.
He's a genius making beats. Like,
absolutely. Like we're blessed to have him on the team.
And he's a drummer too.
Yeah. He's our drummer too, which that's amazing. He fills the roles very well. Like I don't know. I mean,
he produced the album I did with Walt,
mm-hmm.
Called Trespass. He produced my solo Creekwood Run, and he's just always been there. And when I first started working with Jesse, Jesse knew who he was and heard some of his stuff probably, but not too much. And he started doing all of our stuff,
mm-hmm.
and Jesse was always like blown away, like, man,
like, dude, this dude is like got it figured out. Like he knows what everybody wants to hear. He's got the ticks, he's got the tacks, he's got the it's all clear.
That's why I had him around the whole time. I knew what he was.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I've somehow throughout the years been able to link up with these people that has built this whole team. Like I'm saying, like certain people come around and they're supposed to be there, you know. The ones that ain't supposed to be there, like I said, they find a way out. But you end up with all these solid, good people around you and have such a solid team that's all on the same track, same mind frame of what to do and what to accomplish, and it just works, man.
Well, everybody on the team wants to work. Nobody on the team wants to be lazy. Everybody wants to work. That's what I love about everybody that's on our team, is that nobody, you know, like when all the stuff started happening, you know, last year, you know, the things that really put a dampener on some of the progress that we had this last year. Well, regardless of that, though, everybody's still trying to work. Everybody's still trying to fight to try to make new music. They're grinding, you know, like, and even through all the crap, like they're grinding. And me, I mean, I do too, but I took a little step away from it for, you know, 3 or 4 months, you know, going through all this stuff with Beverly and things like that. And you know, when I got on stage the other day, though, I told myself, I was like, yep, I was like, this is what you're built for. This is what you're built for right here. And I knew it felt weird though, because he wasn't on stage with me. Like it's weird when you get on stage with somebody for 4 years and you do shows for 4 solid years with somebody, then you go do a show by yourself. Like that's a whole nother feeling.
It's like a safety net.
It is, man. Like when you have the band back there and you can say, guys, just chill. I'm gonna go take a drink for a minute.
Yeah, he's smoking a black and mild while he's shredding.
Exactly. You don't care. No, you know, that's one of the things that really you fall back on that. And you get used to that as a artist, I think. And I'm glad that I went back to my roots this last show at the rave, you know, and I drove an hour show by myself, just playing the guitar and making everybody sing, and had a great time doing it. You know, it was fun. Got to ride, got to see, you know, layout of the land. I'm a rider. I love riding. Anytime any chance I can. I mean, I'd rather be on a trail a lot of times than be on the stage a lot of times. You know, and I think it shows sometimes when I'm at all these mud parks. When we're at mud parks, we like to ride. Like I like to ride. I know he likes to really ride, but a lot of times when he gets there, he's so tired because he had to drive. So he'll just chill, you know. But it's one of those things where, you know, it's a blessing. It's a blessing altogether.
Certain events, like I knew the rave was going to be dusty and
yeah, absolutely. You didn't want to be out there in it, and before we had to go on stage. And I agree. It's hard for me to, because when I'm out there with the people, because that's what I like to do. I like to be out there with the people. I'm no different than anybody else. You know, and show them that I can get mud on me too, just the same way as them. And I'm not scared to wear the same clothes up on a stage and not care what anybody thinks about how I look. Yeah. And I think that's what they love about us, you know, all together, is I'm down there with them. I'm in the trenches with them, 100%. And I care about that. And I want I think that differentiates us from a lot of different artists out there. I'm not saying we're any better than anybody else. I'm just saying that we're in it with the people. Because we know the people is what made us who we are. If we didn't have the people listening to us and love us, we wouldn't have no career. We wouldn't have nothing. I mean, we could still be trying to dream about it, but it wouldn't actually be a reality, is what I'm trying to say.
Because they just resonate with us and the words and what we stand for, man. It's just when we came into this, I don't think a lot of people was expecting it or something they could just grab onto and feel like they're part of something, and with something that has so much meaning and value. And then here we come out the blue, just a big, you know, group.
Real life music. Yeah, he said it a long time ago.
Yeah, you know, that's why I like to call our stuff. Like people put us in a box, like, well, this song's rock or this song's country or country rap. I like to say that what's called RLM, which is my uncle Ricky that passed away when he was 18. His initials are RLM, but also it stands for real life music. That's what I think we make is real life music.
Yeah, it's really not like a. It's not like you said. It's not boxed into a genre.
We don't talk about bonfires and
I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with
big,
that.
yeah, but we don't. That ain't what we talk about. Real stuff, yeah. So, like stuff that people deal with, stuff that people's reaching out for to have,
give them hope.
To give hope and inspiration. Like that's what we talk about. So we don't talk about like moonshine and getting drunk or partying all the time. Like that's music's cool for a certain thing, for a certain time. But we want to make stuff that lasts forever. Like someone could be driving down the road in deep thought and put that song on, and it makes them feel better. Or like gives you something to relate to.
Yep, absolutely.
I just drove to Ohio and we shot new music videos for a song called Heaven or Hell coming out. We got a few that I can call. This gonna be one of our biggest songs, and then a duet with Jesse and Corey.
Mm-hmm.
They just shot that video last night, so hopefully by the time
everybody
people
sees
start seeing this, that song will be out.
Hopefully it'll be out, yeah.
And it'll be doing numbers because that's an amazing duet song right there. Yeah, I think that's our first song that could be on the radio as a regular style original country hit.
It's crazy. It was hard for me to. I thought I was going to not remember the words because we recorded it a couple of years ago. So I kept thinking to myself like, I'm not going to remember these words and it's going to suck, and I'm going to pay attention to that every time I watch it. Yeah. And then literally, like I think I messed up one little tiny word in it, and you can't even tell. I mean, I look back on it, I was like, maybe I do remember all the words. I guess it's just one of those things. It's like gets burned into your brain. You did it for a while, and even if you leave, even if you don't do it for a while, it comes right back. It's cool. I love that.
Yeah. So y'all spoke on the new songs coming up. What can the fans expect from Outlaw Nation and the end of this year, 2025? Just the same thing y'all been doing, just consistent.
Actually, this year's this new album that's about to come out, man, is going to be something totally different in a way. It's got way different vibes than the last three, I think.
It's probably gonna be 2 albums this year because we already have so much material now. We probably already have an album that we just ain't even put together.
We just ain't stacked it all together yet.
Yeah, put it out yet. But then plus another half of an album that all we need to do is a few more songs. We'll have 2 whole albums. So I thought about even doing a double disc. So we might do a double disc. We might just do 2 albums this year. Plus, everybody in Outlaw Nation is going to be putting out albums and singles left and right. We got a new video guy, like I said, Catalyst. So yeah, all year long, you're going to be getting top quality videos.
Super nice guy.
No more of the funny looking videos and just stuff not up to par. So now we're supposed to be on that.
But those were I see what you're saying.
Yeah, those are staples in our career.
Yeah, they are staples, and they serve the purpose they were supposed to serve.
Right. I'm not ashamed of them. Like, I know they did what they were supposed to do. Without those, we wouldn't be as far as we are now.
Yeah, you can't be ashamed of something. We just progressed.
We worked what
we progressed.
When a lot of people would freak out or start asking for handouts or whatever, riding coattails for these certain reasons, that's where we just used what we had to make it happen.
Yep.
I'm proud of those times.
We were super proud of that. I mean, hell, like not the top of the line cameras, not any. I mean, there's people online that you go back and read the comments and stuff, and people say, "Oh, they shot this on an iPhone."
We never shot a video on an iPhone.
We've never shot a video on an iPhone ever.
$300. I can't remember what it was. I forgot the name of it, but anyway, now I do have the top of the line Sony Alpha 1 and stuff like that. But now that I have all that, I don't even have to use it because we got a camera guy that has all his own stuff. So I got it for looks or whatever.
But you got it if you ever want to shoot content.
Well, yeah.
Shoot content like this style content.
I want to do a little podcast. I want to do Outlaw Nation TV where every week I talk about. That's another thing you guys can look forward to this year. I'm going to get it done. For one, the documentary is going to be a big thing for this year, but also Outlaw Nation TV, where every week it talks about what the artists are up to, who's dropping what features are coming up, what everybody's doing, how they're going.
Bro. Yeah, got a big enough roster where that could easily be.
I think it would work out really, really good.
Yeah, we're gonna have content. I want to do a contest for the fans to cover the "Welcome to My House," and we'll pick the top 3, which ones are best. and they'll win prizes, cash prizes. And I want to do a guitar where the whole group signs it and gives it to the winner of the Welcome to My House cover song challenge. I want to do that.
dope,
I've heard some people do some covers of it, and it was pretty
that's
wild.
That's what got me the idea the other night when I was driving back from your house, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So I was listening to some of them.
Live, there was a guy that opened up for us, and I remember him at the Ohio show. I'm pretty sure he opened up for us. He might not have. We had a lot of people open up for us, but regardless, he was covering it, and it sounded. His whole band was playing it. You know, they were getting down, and I was like, wow, bro! Like we've made it to that level to where it's like, you know, now new bands that are coming up are covering our stuff, like where it used to be.
Producers make beats and type it or call it
Welcome to My House type beats.
Jesse Howard type.
New breed Jesse Howard type beat. We're like, we made it. We did something. We did. If we got a genre kind of beat, you know, like it's just one of those things. It's a cool feeling for sure. Me and him both embrace it, and we just, I mean, a lot of times what I'm doing, you know, I'm living my life and doing what I got to do at the house and stuff, and then he's constantly on the grind with the music and stuff, and I love it because, like lately, you know, we've had all this stuff happen, but he's back on the hustle again. So when he gets on the hustle, I'm gonna get on the hustle. That's kind of how it works. Like I sit back and patiently wait, and it always works out good like that. You know, that way you're not forcing stuff. You're not. Because if you rush it and force it, that's whenever it starts to show. Like it'll show. Like, oh man, yeah. It's not authentic. It's not like real. It doesn't have any of those. Like, I will never rush the way I record anymore. I just don't care. I'll stop whatever I'm doing and make time for that and make sure that that's right. How many times have I said delete that one? Because I just know that I could do it better. You know, and sometimes the first one I took, he keep it, and he'll use that one. I sat here and do 25 takes of a track, but maybe not that much. Probably about 5 or 6 takes of a song. Use the first one. Then I've went through and revamped it. Use the first one. And I'm like, hey, whatever. You know, if it works, it works. You know.
This has been dope, bro. I'm glad that we was able to sit down, and y'all. I think the people are really gonna enjoy this because y'all being able to speak on stuff that kind of has shaped you not only as artists but as men, just like what y'all been through, you know, and to see and it gives people hope to see that what they went through. You know, Newbury went through all that. Jesse went through all this.
He's still and
still is going through things. Y'all are still getting hit.
It ain't stopped.
It ain't stopped.
Not yet. It's like it just keeps coming, but I keep improvising. So
God gives his strongest soldiers his toughest battles, though.
Yeah.
So
it's gonna take a lot to stop the momentum.
For sure, man. Well, I appreciate you guys greatly for this, man. Y'all be sure to definitely subscribe to if y'all aren't, or obviously if you're ChadArmesTV subscribers and y'all haven't been tapped into Outlaw Nation, now you are. Go follow them. They're great people and they make great music. So,
and all of our people, if you're watching this video now, go to Chad Arms.
Chad Arms. I was about to say ChadArmesTV, baby. Thanks for having us, man.
Make sure y'all subscribe to him for having us on his show.
Absolutely,
it's good stuff, man. We're blessed. We're definitely blessed. Thank you for having us on the show.
Much. I look forward to working with you guys again in the future. But y'all have a good one, man. ChadArmesTV, Newbury, Jesse Howard, Outlaw Nation.